Diamonds are a girl's best friend. We've all heard it before, but have we ever considered where this phrase came from? For starters, let's look at it through the lens of the diamond engagement ring. When most women dream of being proposed to, they imagine the scenario, where they are, who's there, possibly even what they'll wear, but not many of them debate what kind of ring they'll receive. That is because today, over 3/4 of American brides wear diamond engagement rings, the average cost of which is about $4,000, or 2 months of a traditional man's salary. This practice has even become popular enough to travel internationally, with the diamond company De Beers expanding into Japan in the 1960s. Then, only 5% of brides had diamond engagement rings. Now, Japan has the second largest diamond market in the world. This is also gaining traction in China, who, as of 1990, did not use this practice, but today, more than 30% of their brides are wearing diamond engagement rings. But let's take it back to where this whole practice began. It's actually more recent than you would think. The 1930s is a very memorable decade worldwide, but what you might not know is that is when De Beers began their diamond campaign, which is interesting to note because it was a time of economic strife. In fact, this entire phenomenon stems from a marketing campaign. Admittedly, a very well-executed marketing campaign, but a campaign nonetheless. Prior to this, diamond giving had not been a widely done practice, but the head of De Beers wanted to claim this portion of the market. De Beers flooded the market with their advertising, selling the idea that while proposing to your lady is great, the only way to prove your undying love for her is to get her a diamond engagement ring, because a diamond is forever. And while this idea was very romanticized, what truly drove the success of this product was its strong correlation to the success of men, not only in love, but professionally. In order to prove your worth as a man, you needed to be able to, during the greatest economic tragedy of our history, spend at least 2 months' salary on a ring for your wife. And yes, De Beers did specify. The reason De Beers was so invested in launching this market was because, in the late 1800s, diamond mines were discovered in South Africa, which resulted in a massive increase in the number of diamonds on the market. This discovery undermined the estimated value of the stone, which was invented around the idea of it being rare. In order to control this price more effectively and keep up the narrative that diamonds should be expensive, De Beers Consolidated was established to control every aspect of the diamond trade and keep the supply low enough to inflate prices. But how did they get not only men, but women to buy into this need for diamonds? Through the use of celebrities. Before the launch of the De Beers campaign promoting the idea of the diamond engagement ring, the marketing agency they partnered with paid actresses and other celebrities to talk about their diamond engagement rings in interviews and magazines. Everywhere a woman looked, they could see the idea of someone loving them enough to buy them a ring. This marketing ploy is largely responsible for the current perception of diamonds, but its attachment to women actually predates De Beers as a company. Royalty has had a strong tradition of wearing very extravagant and lavish clothing, and tiaras were no exception to this. In European tradition, duchesses are seen at events wearing tiaras, but diamond-encrusted tiaras are reserved for married women. They were meant to warn men not to make advances on taken women of status. Though this has changed in recent history, allowing for diamond tiaras to be worn at the actual wedding and thereafter, but still not before. What is interesting to note is that diamonds were not always used to denote who was a kept woman. In fact, in ancient Greece, they were worn in rings by women to ward off evil spirits and show their independence. They didn't become a symbol for the financially wealthy until England in the 18th century. Women today, however, are falling more in line with the ideas of Greece. According to recent research, women are actually the largest consumer of diamonds, buying them mostly for themselves. This is, of course, influenced by the freedoms many women have today within their jobs to become financially independent. This is paralleled by the changing attitudes of society and a continuing push of feminism that has spread widely in recent years with the creation of the Women's March organization and a larger focus on individual identity and autonomy. What we have not seen as a result of this climate is an attempt from De Beers to market diamonds as a gift for men. This could be because of the massive failure they suffered in the 80s when trying to expand their market audience by trying to sell the idea of women giving diamonds to men. Unfortunately for them, their marketing strategy in the 30s was so effective in pivoting diamonds towards women, they have eliminated that strategy as a possibility. The overall trend of women buying themselves diamonds will be seen by many as a good thing, because it does serve as a milestone in female independence. Women are making more than they ever have before and are free to choose what they do with their money. But at the end of the day, isn't that just feeding into the De Beers narrative that a diamond is a girl's best friend?